Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Longevity's Secret. We just spoke about Nabi Tajima, the last person born in the 19th century. But she was not the only one with an incredible story that stretched across the ages. Today, I want to introduce you to another remarkable woman, a true force of nature from Italy named Emma Morano. Emma Morano lived to be 117 years and 137 days old. When she passed away in April 2017, she was not only the world's oldest living person, but she held a truly unique distinction. She was the last verified person on Earth who was born in the 1800s. Think about that, she was born in 1899. A life begins in the 19th century. Emma Martina Luigia Morano was born on November 29, 1899, in a small town called Siviasco in the Piedmont region of northern Italy. Imagine the world she entered. Horse-drawn carriages were common, electricity was a luxury, and Italy itself was a young, unified nation still finding its footing. She was one of 8 children, and longevity seemed to run in her family, with her mother and some sisters also living past 90s. Her early life was marked by the turn of a new century, but also by the industrial changes sweeping through Europe. She worked in a jute factory as a young woman, and later as a cook in a hotel and then in a boarding school, often rising early to prepare meals. Her unconventional secret to longevity, the eggs. Now, if Nabi Tajima's secret was eating delicious things and sleeping well, Emma Morano's was, well, let's just say it was unique. Her famous longevity secret was her diet, which for decades consisted primarily of 3 raw eggs a day, along with some biscuits and in later years a bit of chicken. This unusual diet began when she was just 20 years old. After being diagnosed with anemia, a doctor advised her to eat 2 raw eggs and 1 cooked egg daily. She took that advice and stuck with it for over 90 years. While modern nutritionists might raise an eyebrow, it certainly seemed to work for Emma. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, what works for one person, based on their unique biology and circumstances, might defy conventional wisdom. Resilience and independence, a life lived on her own terms. Emma Morano's life was not without its hardships. She was engaged to a man who died in World War I. Later, she married, but it was an unhappy union. In 1938, after the tragic death of her only child, an infant son, she made a courageous decision for her time. She separated from her abusive husband. She never divorced, but she lived independently from him for the rest of her life, choosing solitude over an unhappy partnership. She often said she didn't want to be dominated by anyone. This speaks volumes about her inner strength and fierce independence. She navigated a world where women had far fewer choices, yet she carved out a life on her own terms, demonstrating incredible resilience in the face of personal tragedy and societal norms. Witness to history and Italian perspective. Like Nabi Tajima, Emma Morano was a living witness to history, but from a distinctly Italian perspective. She lived through 2 world wars, the rise and fall of fascism in Italy, and the establishment of the Italian Republic. She saw the transformation of her small town and her country from a largely agrarian society to a modern European nation. She experienced the rationing, the fear, and the eventual rebuilding that defined much of the 20th century in Italy. Later years and global recognition. In her final years, Emma Morano became a global celebrity. Journalists from around the world flocked to her small apartment in Verbania, Italy. Eager to hear her story and perhaps glean a hint of her secret, she was known for her sharp wit and her love for a good cookie. She remained in her own home, cared for by relatives and caregivers, until just a few years before her death, when she moved to a smaller apartment. When she passed away in 2017, the world mourned the loss of a true historical figure. She was the last person born in the 1800s, a final link to a bygone era. So, what can we take from Emma Morano's incredible journey? Listen to your body and your doctor. While her diet seems unconventional now, it was based on a doctor's advice for her specific condition. It reminds us to pay attention to our unique needs and find what genuinely works for us, even if it's not the latest trend. It's about being attuned to your own well-being. Picking up from Emma Morano's story, focusing on the listen to your body lesson. We just touched on Emma Morano's famous or perhaps infamous secret to her longevity, her daily regimen of raw eggs. And I know what many of you might be thinking, raw eggs, that goes against everything I've ever been told about diet and food safety. And you're right, for most people, that's absolutely true. But here's the profound lesson we can extract from Emma's very unique diet. It was based on a doctor's advice for her specific condition when she was 20 years old. She was anemic, and in that era, a diet rich in raw eggs was a common, if not the only, remedy. She then continued it for over 90 years. This is not an endorsement for us to start eating raw eggs. Instead, it's a powerful reminder that one size does not fit all when it comes to our health. Think about it. We are constantly bombarded with the latest diet trends, the superfoods of the moment, the workout routines that promise instant transformation. We compare ourselves to others, to what we see on social media, to what our friends or family are doing. But Emma's story shouts from the rooftops, your body is unique, your needs are unique. What works wonders for one person might be detrimental to another. Her doctor gave her a personalized recommendation, and she was attuned enough to her own body's signals to stick with it because, for her, it seemed to deliver results. This motivates us to cultivate a deeper relationship with our own bodies, to truly listen to the signals it's sending us. Are you feeling sluggish after certain foods? Are you energized after a particular type of activity? Do you need more rest than someone else you know? It means being a proactive partner in your own health journey. It means consulting with trusted professionals who understand your individual health profile, your history, and your specific needs, rather than just following generalized advice. Becoming an expert on you. Notice how different foods make you feel, how different activities impact your energy, how much sleep you genuinely need to feel your best. Having the courage to deviate from the norm if your body is telling you something different. If a popular diet leaves you feeling unwell, despite its widespread praise, your body is communicating. If a strenuous workout trend leaves you injured, perhaps a gentler approach is what your body truly needs. Emma Morano's eggs might seem quirky, but the underlying message is universal and profoundly liberating. Your well-being is a personal journey. It's about being attuned, being mindful, and trusting that inner wisdom that knows what truly works for you. It empowers us to advocate for our own health, to experiment responsibly, and to prioritize what truly makes our individual bodies and minds thrive. So let Emma's eggs be a quirky symbol, not of a diet to follow, but of a principle to embrace. Listen deeply to yourself, honor your unique needs, and find the path to well-being that is truly yours. The power of resilience and independence. Emma faced immense personal challenges, yet she chose to leave her life with agency and determination. She separated from an unhappy marriage and found strength in her independence. Let her inspire you to find your inner strength, to make choices that serve your well-being, and to face adversity with courage. You have more power than you think to shape your own narrative. Picking up from Emma Morano's story, focusing on resilience and independence. We've talked about Emma's unique diet, but perhaps even more compelling than her raw eggs was her unshakable spirit of resilience and fierce independence. Think about the context of her life. Born in 1899, she lived in a society where women, especially in the early to mid-20th century, had far fewer rights and far less agency than they do today. Their roles were often strictly defined, their financial independence limited, and their personal choices heavily scrutinized. Emma Morano faced immense personal challenges. She lost her fiancé in World War I. She entered into what was by all accounts an unhappy and abusive marriage. Most heartbreakingly, she endured the tragedy of losing her only child, an infant son, a loss that would crush many people. Yet after her son's death, she made a choice that was incredibly bold and courageous for her time. She separated from her husband. She chose to live on her own terms. She didn't divorce, which was complicated and often stigmatized, but she asserted her right to live independently, free from a partnership that brought her only unhappiness. She often remarked that she didn't want to be dominated by anyone. This was not just about living alone. It was about reclaiming her power, her agency, and her well-being. She chose self-preservation and personal dignity over societal expectation and an unhappy status quo. What does this teach us? In our own lives, we may not face the exact same challenges Emma did, but we all encounter adversity. We all face difficult decisions, personal heartbreaks, and moments where we feel trapped or powerless. Emma Morano's life is a powerful testament to the fact that you have more inner strength than you think. It's the strength to make difficult choices that serve your well-being, even if they are unpopular or unconventional. It's the courage to walk away from what diminishes you, whether it's a relationship, a job, or even a mindset. It's the resilience to rebuild your life after loss or setback, brick by brick, just as she continued to work and live independently. Her story motivates us to tap into that inner reservoir of grit when life gets tough, stand up for ourselves, even when it feels scary or when the world expects something different. Believe in our own capacity to overcome, to adapt, and to shape a narrative that truly reflects who we are and what we deserve. You are the author of your own story. Like Emma, you have the power to write the next chapter with courage, determination, and an unwavering commitment to your own well-being. Don't let anyone or any circumstance tell you that you are powerless. Emma Morano, the last voice of the 1800s, stands as a beacon of independence, urging us all to find and harness our own incredible inner strength. Find your own eggs. Her raw egg diet became her signature. It was her thing. What's your thing that brings you consistent comfort, routine, or a sense of well-being? It might not be eggs, but it could be a daily walk, a creative hobby, or a specific morning ritual. Cultivate habits that consistently nourish you, even if they seem quirky to others, continuing the discussion on Find Your Own Eggs. We just talked about Emma Morano's famous raw egg diet. Her thing, it was unconventional, it was hers, and she stuck with it for nearly a century. And the powerful lesson there is not about eating raw eggs, but about finding your own eggs. What do I mean by that? In a world constantly telling us what we should do, what the latest hack or trend is for success, health, or happiness, Emma's story is a beautiful, quirky rebellion. Her eggs were her consistent anchor, a habit that provided her body what it needed, and perhaps just as importantly, gave her a sense of predictability and control in her daily life. It was a ritual that became deeply ingrained, a source of comfort and well-being. So what's your thing? It's about identifying those small, consistent habits or routines that genuinely nourish you, that bring you a sense of comfort, peace, or vitality, even if they seem peculiar or insignificant to others. For one person, it might be a specific morning ritual, that first cup of coffee brewed just so, enjoyed in silence watching the sunrise. It's not about the coffee itself, but the calm, predictable start to the day it offers. For another, it could be a daily walk in nature, regardless of the weather. It's their moment to clear their head, connect with the world, and move their body. Maybe it's a creative hobby that you dedicate just 15 minutes to every evening, journaling, playing an instrument, knitting, sketching. It's not about becoming a master, it's about the consistent outlet for expression and calm. It might even be something as simple as reading a physical book before bed instead of staring at a screen, or taking 5 minutes to practice mindful breathing when stress starts to build. These are your eggs. They are the personal, often quiet, practices that help you feel grounded, recharged, and truly well. They become your reliable sources of positive energy and mental clarity. They don't have to be grand gestures or follow any trending advice. Their power lies in their consistency and their personal resonance. My motivation to you is this: in the rush and noise of modern life, take a moment to reflect. What are those small, consistent actions that genuinely make you feel better, stronger, or more at peace? What routines, however quirky, truly nourish your body, mind, or spirit? Cultivate those habits, protect them, make time for them, because just like Emma's daily eggs, these consistent, personal rituals can become the quiet, powerful backbone of your well-being, contributing not just to how long you live, but to how richly and contentedly you live each and every day. Find your eggs, embrace them, and watch how these small, consistent efforts compound into a life of greater joy and resilience. Embrace simplicity and contentment. Despite living through monumental changes, Emma lived a relatively simple life. She found contentment in her routine, her work, and her independence. Let's be motivated to appreciate the simple joys and find contentment in our daily lives, rather than constantly chasing external validation or fleeting trends. Finally, let's explore perhaps one of the most profound lessons from Emma Morano's incredible journey. Her embrace of simplicity and contentment, she lived through arguably the most transformative century in human history. From a world lit by gas lamps and moved by horse and cart, she saw the invention of cars, airplanes, television, the internet, and countless other technological marvels that utterly reshaped human existence. Yet, despite these monumental changes swirling around her, Emma herself lived a remarkably simple life. She didn't chase the latest trends. She was not consumed by accumulating wealth or possessions. Instead, she found deep satisfaction in her daily routine, those consistent eggs, her work as a cook, the rhythms of her simple home life. There was comfort and stability in this predictability. Her independence, the quiet strength she found in choosing to live alone, being self-reliant and not being dominated by anyone. This was never a lonely existence, but a chosen path of freedom. The small joys, we hear about her fondness for biscuits and a little homemade grappa. These were not grand indulgences, but simple pleasures that brought her a moment of delight. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we need more to be happy. More possessions, more experiences, more followers, more achievements. We live in a society that often equates worth with material accumulation or constant external stimulation. This can lead to a perpetual state of striving, a feeling that we're always just one step away from true happiness, always chasing the next thing. But Emma Morano, with her 117 years of wisdom, offers a different perspective. She shows us the immense power and peace that come from finding contentment in the present moment. In what you already have and in the simple, fundamental aspects of life, this motivates us to reevaluate our own pursuits. Are we chasing external validation, or are we building genuine internal peace? Are we acquiring things, or are we cultivating experiences and relationships that truly matter? Can we find joy in the dailiness of life? The warmth of a cup of tea, the comfort of a familiar routine, the quiet beauty of a sunrise, the laughter of a loved one. Let Emma's simplicity be your inspiration. It's not about renouncing everything. It's about discerning what truly adds value to your life and letting go of the rest. It's about being grateful for the roof over your head, the food on your table, the connections you cherish. It's about finding satisfaction in being rather than constantly having or doing. When we embrace simplicity, we create space. Space for peace, for reflection, for deeper connections, and for genuine joy. It liberates us from the endless pursuit of more and allows us to truly appreciate the richness that already exists in our lives. Emma Morano, a woman who saw 3 centuries, teaches us that the greatest treasures are often found not in complexity, but in the profound beauty of a simple, contented life. Emma Morano's story is a powerful reminder that there is not one single path to a long and fulfilling life. It's a unique blend of genetics, environment, personal choices, and an indomitable spirit. She was a woman who lived life on her own terms, and in doing so, left us with a legacy of resilience, individuality, and the enduring wonder of the human spirit. Thank you for watching. If you find this video motivates you, hit like, share, and subscribe for more. See you in the next video. Take care.